here. Clark for three.
The intensity at the court became plain. Caitlin Clark, the growing big name of the Indiana Fever, introduced a performance that left fans in awe. Meanwhile, Lexie Hull turned proper there with her, making recreation-converting contributions in a matchup towards the Atlanta Dream. But it wasn't just the game itself that was given all people speak me. It turned into what the Indiana Fever did in a while that has people humming. Their choice ought to shift the entire WNBA landscape. What did they do, and how will it affect the future of women's basketball? Caitlin Clark's rise this season has been nothing short of exceptional. This rookie is gambling like a seasoned veteran, and in the game towards the Atlanta Dream, she confirmed another time why she's the talk of the league. Clark has broken facts left and right, becoming the quickest participant in WNBA records to attain 300 assists in 35 video games into her rookie season. But in case you appearance beyond the stats, it's her presence at the courtroom that makes her stand out.
Good job here in Phoenix, so I'm having fun. It's definitely hot.
Clark's capability to dominate the game, each in scoring and in setting up her teammates, has transformed the Fever into a serious contender. In that sport against the Dream, she dropped 26 points and passed out 12 assists. That marked her 14th double-double of the season, sure. You heard that proper. 14, and she suggests no signs and symptoms of slowing down. What makes Clark special isn't simply her shooting range, even though her deep three-factor shots are something to wonder at. It's her manager of the sport. She reads the defense, unearths openings, and puts her teammates inside the pleasant role to attain. Her selection-making is sharp, and her competitiveness? Off the charts. Clark doesn't simply play basketball. She controls the pace, dictates the glide, and makes certain her group is constantly in a role to win.
Race Cochran able to pizza pie it home.
For a rookie, that stage of poise is rare. Fans and analysts alike are already beginning to examine her to some of the greats. It's clean that Caitlin Clark is shaping as much as be a generational expertise, and where most effective simply getting began. While Clark changed into setting up huge numbers, Lexie Hull became busy making her very own declaration. Hull might not get the equal degree of interest as Clark, but her contribution to the group has been essential. In the same sport, she scored 12 factors and hit 4 of 5 from beyond the arc, showing her potential to supply whilst the group wishes her maximum. What's marvelous approximately, Hull isn't just her shooting, it's her reliability. Every group wishes a participant like Hull, someone who may be counted on to make the right play on the proper time. In this recreation, when the Fever were down and wanted a spark,
I've noticed the most in the second year is that
Hull provided it along with her clutch 3 guidelines. She's additionally a player who's improving with every recreation. Hull isn't simply content material to be a shooter. She's working on her defense, studying how to study warring parties better, and turning into a greater, properly rounded participant. That form of growth makes her a key part of the Fever's destiny plans. The component about Hull is that she is aware of her position and embraces it. She's now not obtainable to be the big name every night. She's obtainable to assist her crew when in some thing manner she can, and that's precisely what she did against the Dream. Those 12 points won't appear like a lot as compared to Clark's 26. However, each one and every of them got here at an essential second in the sport. Hull is proving that she belongs inside the conversation as one of the league's growing stars.
And before games, that's something that I really focus on. We have a lot of schemes.
Now let's communicate about the sport itself, because it turned into not anything brief or dramatic. The Fever faced off in opposition to the Atlanta Dream, and matters weren't looking suitable for Indiana early on. They have been down by as much as 16 points inside the 1/3 zone, and it appeared like the sport was slipping away. But Caitlin Clark and Lexie Hull weren't ready to allow that to manifest. The Fever slowly commenced to chip away at the Dream's lead, and earlier than long, they were proper back in it. Clark became unstoppable, sinking 3 guidelines from Manners past the arc and allotting assists that made the Dream's protection appearance helpless. Meanwhile, Hull changed into hitting seized shots from the corners, helping to fuel the comeback. By the end of Law, the sport was tied at 90-90. The Fever had clawed their way back, and that they weren't approximately to allow it slip away now. Overtime became where the Fever actually shined. Clark and Hull persisted to dominate, and the Fever outscored the Dream 14-10 within the extra period to secure a 104-100 victory. This recreation wasn't just about the win, though. It was a showcase of what makes Clark and Hull this type of risky duo. Clark's leadership and playmaking, blended with Hull's grasp shooting, gave the Fever the edge they wanted. It's the sort of overall performance that suggests simply how vibrant the destiny is for Indiana. After the game, the Indiana Fever made a decision that would have large implications for the relaxation in their season, and possibly the WNBA as an entire. They're in rebuilding mode, but they've been making actions that signal they're not content to truly wait for destiny. They need to win now. The Fever's control is reportedly seeking to make a massive change earlier than the playoffs. This pass should contain delivery-out veterans, or bringing in key gamers who can assist the crew make a critical playoff push. It's all a part of an approach to construct around their young stars, Clark and Hull. What makes this selection so interesting is how bold it's far. Most teams in rebuilding mode take their time. However, the Fever appear ready to accelerate the manner. They've visible what Clark and Hull can do, and they're prepared to build a crew around them, which can compete for championships inside the near destiny.
It personally a little bit, I think that defense is something that you can really just put a lot of effort in.
The Fever's leadership knows they've something unique in these two gamers, and that they're not afraid to make ambitious moves to capitalize on it. Whether it's trading for a star player or bringing in greater function gamers to guide Clark and Hull, the Fever are making it clean that they're equipped to compete. This decision should reshape the WNBA's panorama, as other teams may be watching closely to see how the Fever's actions play out. The basketball world is humming after that sport, and for properly motive. Experts are already calling Caitlin Clark a Destiny WNBA legend.
Really focus every single possession. That's something that I definitely hang my hat on.
They're comparing her to some of the finest point guards the league has ever visible, and her capacity to attain, bypass, and lead at this sort of younger age is drawing rave critiques. Lexie Hull is also beginning to get the popularity she merits. Analysts have mentioned how vital her taking pictures and defense have been to the Fever's achievement. She won't get as a great deal interest as Clark. However, her function inside the team's fulfillment can't be disregarded. Fans are simply as excited. Social media exploded after the game, with many lovers praising the duo's performances. One fan tweeted, "Clark and Hull are the future of the WNBA. Can't wait to peer what they do next." Others are already talking approximately the Fever's capacity to make a deep playoff run.
Well, Caitlin, you got off to a little bit of a slow start. 2 points in the first quarter. What is your...
Even the professionals are intrigued by using the Fever's choice-making. Some agree with that the group's control is setting them up for lengthy time period fulfillment by making bold actions now. Others are curious to see how the Fever's roster will look after the change deadline. Either way, all eyes are on Indiana. Caitlin Clark, Lexie Hull, and the Indiana Fever aren't just making waves in their personal franchise, they're impacting the complete WNBA. Clark's recreation is redefining what it approached to be a factor guard in the league. Her deep capturing variety, blended along with her court imaginative and prescient, is giving opponents nightmares, and she or he's inspiring a new generation of young gamers to broaden their all-around game. Hull's overall performance is also assisting to elevate the bar for role players within the league. She's displaying that, even if you're no longer the big name of the group, you could make a big impact through C's, taking pictures, protection, and information your function. Together, Clark and Hull are putting a brand new well-known for what it approached to be young stars in the WNBA.
Thought they played really good defense to start on us, and then when we kind of got into a flow and played
The Fever's selection to construct round these is likewise growing a shift in how groups technique rebuilding. By making ambitious actions now rather than ready, they're showing that you don't need to sacrifice the present for the future. Other teams are probably watching closely, and we ought to see more groups comply with this blueprint in the coming years. Women's basketball is at the upward thrust, and with players like Caitlin Clark and Lexie Hull leading the price, the destiny looks brighter than ever. the Fever are constructing something unique, and the entire league is taking word.
On this, because the two of you have something special brewing.
Caitlin Clark and Lexie Hull are converting the sport for the Indiana Fever and the WNBA. Their performances are pushing the Fever towards fulfillment, and the crew's ambitious decisions ought to reshape the league's destiny. These rising stars are redefining what it manner to be young, dynamic players, and the Fever are placing themselves up for long-time period achievement. Want to keep up with their journey? Comment your thoughts beneath, share this video with your buddies, and hit the subscribe button. And don't forget to press the bell icon so you in no way omit the contemporary updates on girls basketball. This is simply the start.